Welcome to Small Biz Florida, your go-to podcast for all things small business in the Sunshine State. This podcast is sponsored by Florida First Capital, your trusted partner for financing and support. Here, you'll discover the latest news, trends, and invaluable resources to help you grow and succeed. From startup strategies to scaling your business, we've got you covered. Join us as we explore the vibrant Florida small business ecosystem and connect you with the experts who can make a real difference. And now, please welcome your host, Tom Kindred, Regional Director of the Small Business Development Center at Indian River State College.
This is Small Biz Florida, the podcast and broadcast that's all things business across the state of Florida. And if you've been tuning in lately, you know Small Biz Florida is on the road again. Incredible gathering over in downtown Tampa of craft brew owners and operators and all of those people that support that industry. The room is chock-a-block full of those folks that are passionate about this industry, and it has really been a lot of fun and very educational today. I've learned an awful lot about this industry, and one thinks of this industry kind of as folks brewing the beer in the garage, but there's a lot of technology behind this, and there's a lot of parts and pieces in putting all this together. And one of those individuals that supports this industry with technology is our next guest. It is Frank Pernicano, who is the founder, owner, and operator, and I think you call yourself the lead
Code Monkey.
Lead Code Monkey. I like that. Very technical title. And his business is called BeerMS. Welcome to Small Biz Florida, Frank.
Thank you, Tom. It's amazing to be here.
Yes. Incredible gathering here. And it was interesting, Frank, because I got to tell you, I walked through the exhibit hall, and I got to tell you, your booth caught my attention. I looked down at great technology, really impressive. And then I kind of looked on the schedule. I said, I think I know who that person is because I saw his booth. So again, thank you for your time. I'm interested to talk about your creation here and how you support the industry. So let's start as we always do, Frank. Just a little bit of your background, pathway to creating BeerMS.
Absolutely. So I went to college here in the Tampa Bay area at St. Petersburg College and then University of South Florida, and spent 25 years of my professional career doing web applications. So I've worked for major retailers, travel companies, I don't want to name drop here, but a bunch of really large companies all over Florida doing mostly e-commerce, but retail, but web apps. So making the web do whatever people wanted it to do, which kind of led me to web development. And I ran into the owners of Levin Brewing, KJ and Jillian. We knew them from Fort Myers when my wife and I lived down there. We ran into them at a Lowe's, kind of happenstance, and they said, "Hey, we're moving to Tampa, and we're going to open a brewery. Would you help us out?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll build you a website." And that was kind of the start. I hadn't done web development in a while. I've been in leadership for a while. Still, technically, I'm the director of e-commerce for a large retailer. This was kind of a side gig, but it was. Would you build us a website? Would you build us an Instagram page? Would you build us? And it just kept evolving until we came up with a beer menu system. Wow. And they were like, hey, we want a couple screens on our wall, and, it should show which beers we have. And we don't want to use, like, the big retailers like Untapped and these guys. They basically just give you a spreadsheet. Can you make it brand specific for us? So I did. Early version of it was just a web page that just refreshed every 15 minutes, I think, and then got the latest beers. And somebody walked in and said, hey, can we have that too? And then another brewery said, hey, can we have that too? And the next thing you know.
Of course they did, yes.
So now we're live at about 20 breweries.
And my favorite part of what you just said, Frank, is, just refreshed every 15 minutes, no big deal. I mean, that is complex stuff to make things do what you and with your experience and knowledge make sound simple, but that's pretty impressive stuff to do.
Yeah.
So again, the other impressive part of this is your side hustle, I guess, right?
It is.
Nice. So again, I guess in this space, in this craft brew business, it's not normal. It's not the average textbook type of hospitality eatery. So they are looking for something a little different, a little unique. Is that kind of what drove all this? That kind of the thinking behind all that is let's give the craft brew something a little different.
Yeah.
You don't see this in normal.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
I think these larger organizations focus on base functionality, like just show me a spreadsheet of all the beers that are available. But these breweries, if you've been to some of these smaller ones, especially here, well, anywhere really, but here in Tampa, each time you walk into a brewery, it's got its own personality.
Right.
It's got its own motif. It's got its own feel. And if you detract from that, I think it ruins the aesthetic,
Right.
of that place. So really, like coming up with a brand matching, we use the same fonts as they use on the website, the same logos and colors, and really try to tie in. It's very disruptive to put a TV on your wall with your beer list if your whole organization doesn't have any TVs, if you're not a sports bar.
Right.
So we really try to match that aesthetic, match that brand, and kind of bring it all together to make it make sense. And then the QR code menus and the mobile menus are kind of a cool add-on, but really the focus is that the big screen that's in the tap room.
And how does this tie into customer experience too? Is it part of that?
Absolutely. I think, having a brand matching design, having a brand matching mobile version, having being able to tie into their website, their web presence, and really tie all that branding together without making it look so, I printed off a spreadsheet and handed it to somebody.
Right.
It's really key for this. These are small companies. We're not talking about massive organizations.
Like chain restaurants that have,
like
right.
Chili's, right? You're kind of a basic layout, and
Right.
expect to see you walk into one of these breweries and it's like being at a local bar, and it needs to have that kind of personalized experience.
So take kind of your thought process for that small business owner, maybe the small unique mom and pop eatery. How important is it for them to kind of build that experience and build that brand strategy? Is that kind of what's behind your thinking with a tool like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I love to sit down with the creators. So a lot of times I can make a million examples of the folks here in Tampa where you sit down with the designer who came up with their logo or their kind of whole brand presence, the colors, the feel, and really sit down with them and say, we want to create something that doesn't stand out. It should blend in with everything else you guys are doing here. It should be exactly the same, on brand, very standard, using your colors, using your layouts, and really selling that. Because, when you talk to somebody about, hey, I went to this really cool brewery, you don't talk about the IPA they had. You talk about the ambiance of the bar,
Right.
What it looked like, what the personality of the place was, what the bartenders were like.
Right.
And I think kind of tying into that is really, it's not a Walmart, so it's super important to kind of create that
Right.
that memory to talk about.
Well, again, this whole genre, this whole niche sector of the hospitality industry really is about individual experience. That every one of these establishments is totally different.
Absolutely, yeah. Personal connection with the person who comes in the door. You create almost a relationship with that establishment.
Sure. And again, to the technology part of this, being able to update and refresh. We've had multiple conversations today about the uniqueness of this product and their ability to be flexible with the product, change it, try a new flavor.
Yeah.
We had some flavor companies on talking about how quickly they can, try something. Limited time only for this particular, flavor. So you got to be able to, if you had to reprint all your menus.
Yep.
But when it's electronic and digital, that's
Yep.
pretty easy and simple to do.
Yeah, it's we've really focused on high volatility, high turnover. So I've got some breweries, a couple in particular, one down in Sebring, who's got 48 beers on draft, and he's changing out a dozen of those kegs a day. And as soon as they change them over, there's a quick app. You open it up, you click activate, and it just replaces the beers that are on that list. It's literally a live menu, and that API, that endpoint, posting to your website, to your Facebook, so that no matter where you're coming in, however your guests are kind of looking at whatever you've got, is up to date to that very moment.
Is BeerMS just about craft brewing operations, or have you done this for other types of eateries?
We started out with just breweries. We got into restaurants. We're live in a couple of restaurants here in the Tampa Bay area and a few in Texas. And then we started getting into winery, ciders, and meads. So it seems like every time a new customer comes along and says, "Hey, can you?" the answer, of course, is always yes. It doesn't really matter what it is you're selling. If you've got high turnover, high volatility, BeerMS will fit that need. We've got one vendor who uses us for their swag. It's got T-shirts and stickers and hats, and even that shows up on the boards.
Okay, nice. So you would be open to new clients and customers?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was talking to somebody today from a distilling organization, and he was very interested in talking about whiskey and bourbon and gin and.
Nice. How does one find BeerMS?
BeerMS.com. Pop on in, send us an email. My email is frank@beerms.com. My wife is the CEO. Her email is hello@beerms.com. And we also have a helpline for any of the support needs, so help@beerms.com.
Okay, nice. And because, again, this is all technology, you don't have to be in the state of Florida to use your product or leverage your product.
I got people in Texas. I got a couple of people in Austin, a couple of people in Fort Worth, and a few in Detroit. And then the majority of our customers are here in Florida. And I think that's because we don't do any advertising. Everything is word of mouth. And I think one brewer walks into another brewery and says, "Oh, I need that." And of course, it's, hey, call Frank. So.
And then I guess just a textbook entrepreneurial type question. You've got your daytime job. This is a little bit of a side hustle. As an entrepreneur, do you think about that strategy of I'm going to build BeerMS up to a point where I'm comfortable jumping out of the daytime job? Is that part of the thought process?
It's not a no. That would be the end goal. If this could support my family and we could do this full time, that would be amazing. We do a lot of BeerMS stuff. We take the money that goes into the company account. We traveled out to Texas and visited a bunch of our customers. We paid for this event, with all the BeerMS money. It would be amazing if this would be a full-time gig for sure.
And again, I teach entrepreneurship, and I talk to students about the whole concept of side hustle. Keep that daytime job, but start it on the side. I mean, and again, you're using that textbook kind of strategy, which again makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. When I became a leader in the tech organization, I became a manager and then a senior manager, and then I'm now at the director level. I stopped writing code. And I think there was this kind of hole left in my life where I didn't feel like I was getting that out that I needed. And when we ran into KJ and Jillian at that Lowe's or Home Depot, whatever it was, and they said, would you build us a website? It was just a spark went off, and I needed to, So nice. I feel like I'll just do that forever. I can't stop writing, web applications, even if they're only used by 25 people.
Right. Listen, it's an impressive device and tool. I've seen it now. I wish you the best of luck with it, and I know you're going to do great because it really, again, I think it's in the right niche. It plays well with those craft brewers. So
thanks.
It is Frank Pernicano.
That's right.
With BeerMS. Again, thank you, Frank, for what you do for the craft brew community. Thank you for your support of this conference, and thank you for your time here on Small Biz Florida.
Absolute pleasure being on. Thanks so much, Tom.
Thank you. This is Small Biz Florida. I am Tom Kindred, your host. It is all happening here in downtown Tampa. It is the 2025 Florida Brewers Guild Conference. More to come. Stay tuned. This is Small Biz Florida.
That's all for this episode of Small Biz Florida. We hope you found valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. Don't forget to subscribe to Small Biz Florida on your favorite podcast platform to never miss an episode. We're also active on Instagram. You can find us at Small Biz Florida. So follow us for exclusive content and connect with fellow Florida small business owners. And for even more resources and support, visit our website at floridasbdc.org/podcast. That's floridasbdc.org/podcast. Until then, keep innovating and keep growing. Thanks for listening.